Hey guys, I had someone ask me about conveyors, so I'm going to do a quick tutorial on the conveyor belt, and then some of the variations that you can do off of that once you get comfortable with that, that are really fun to do. I find that, if you're going to work on that, it's nice to have something else to work on afterward. Do you have any other suggestions for other tutorials? I'd be more than happy to hear, more than happy to help with that. Okay, so the conveyor is pretty much composed of two movements or two concepts, which are going to be your elbow wrap and then your wrist wraps. Of course, you're going to want to practice this in both directions. So, alright, the first concept, if you're not really familiar with elbow wraps, we'll go over those. And that is, you're going to have your hand up against your chest and you're going to make your elbow as level as possible. And I've seen people that do the fist to chest, hands down, palm up, and press up against their neck almost. I use my hand down. It's just more relaxed for me. It's however you really want to do it. It'll work any of the ways that you try. But as I said, you're going to want to make sure your elbow is level and easier for the staff to wrap around. What you're going to want to do is take the center of your staff and place that where your elbow starts to come together and your upper and lower arm connect there. And you want to make sure the center part rolls over that. You're going to get just used to going back and forth with that in both directions. Of course, on both sides. Practice that for a while and get used to that. As I said, try to keep your arm level as possible so that the staff can easily roll across and it's not angled to where if your elbow is angled downward, you're going to have this where it rolls somewhat down your elbow and wants to go off, or if it's upward, it's going to come towards your face as it comes across. And no one likes getting hit in the face with the staff. So after that, what we'll be moving on to next is that wrist transition, the wrap around the wrist to the other wrist. And practicing that, the best way I've heard it explained really is as if you were a striking snake. So your arm's going to go straight outward in that striking motion. Whichever way you have it, you're going to want to extend it straight out and have your fingers out. I mean, you can do with your fist closed, but I always find it better to have yourself out and relaxed. So you'll come across. And as the staff starts to become vertical and go across the other side of your elbow there, you'll extend that arm straight out. So just as it comes across and gets to about this position where it's starting to come up, you'll extend out. Practice that for a while. Get comfortable with just rolling that out and across the back of the wrist and catching. And then what we want to get comfortable with is that to get the transition in between the wrists, what I've always suggested practicing is the pinch and the catch between your wrists, and you'll catch your staff with the center point should be right between your wrists. So as it comes out, right there between the wrists. Practice that for a while. And then the second part, or the third, pulling that back in to go back over your other elbow. It's going to be the same motion as going outward with the other one, but you're just bringing it back in, and it's going to come straight back to whichever position you like to bring your hand. It'll just come straight back in. And again, you want to keep that elbow level, which is why you come straight. If you're doing it angled and you have it angled upward, again, it's going to come back across your shoulder and go kind of wild out there. Or downward, it's going to roll right down your arm and out, and just doesn't make it look as clean, and it's flying off of you as you try to do this. So, alright, yeah, practice that. And I always suggest practicing it on just that side for a little bit, getting that wrist wrap across the back of your wrist. And again, as the staff starts to go vertical is when you're going to pull back. So as the center point rolls across the back of your wrist and gets to that locked position, vertical, you'll pull it back in. And pull it. And again, you want to practice all of that broken down. And then together. Now, for a while, practice just a catch with you. Just go ahead and grab the staff, stop it, and then what you can start to practice is another wrist wrap and putting it right back in. And that's a continual conveyor. As you know, as you get better with your wrist wraps, that will become a lot easier to do. But it is really good practice. And for that, as it comes across the back side of the elbow, instead of catching like I just did, you're just going to stick your hand on the back side underneath of your elbow as the staff rolls across vertically. So it's basically every time you transition or move the staff to a different point, it's as it's going vertically. So when you catch, it'll be going vertically over the last elbow. And with that wrist wrap, it'll be doing the same. You can transition that, as you just saw, to a wrist wrap on the opposite hand and go right back into it. And you'll just, as I said, with that wrist wrap, when it comes down and starts to get vertical again on this side, you will tuck that underneath your elbow and put that center point right back onto the elbow. So, there we go. Some other fun variations of this, you can do your conveyor to halo. That's pretty fun to mess with. As well as there's this pressure lock that you can do out of it. Pretty much, and as I said, I can explain these in more detail. There's just a couple ideas for different variations, but those can be flipped. Go back out. Bring that back in to lock it. Or let's see. Another fun one is an elbow-to-elbow transition instead of the wrist wrap or the actual grab. And that looks like this. Oh, if I don't mess it up, jeez. There we go. And those are just a couple ideas to work off of with conveyors. Hope that was helpful. Appreciate you guys' time.